Legend of Exorcism. Chapter 105. Investigating the Garden. Wenbin sped along as if he was flying, walking through the market of Luoyang. Yuan Kun staggered along, clearly injured, before he toppled forward. Wenbin hurried to reach out and steady him. 7 days later, your life will hang in the balance, Yuan Kun said quietly, a black strip of cloth covering his eyes. Only the Jixian Medicinal Hall will be able to save you. After that, come to Yaoguang to find me. Wenbin and Yuan Kun separated, and the light instantly drew back in on itself as Li Jinglong and Hung Jun came out from Wenbin's memory. Where did you learn this? Hung Jun asked curiously. Li Jinglong replied, the Corpse Ghost King taught me. It's only useful against mortals, but for those with even a bit of magic, or stronger humans, it won't work. Yaoguang, Li Jinglong murmured, rising to pace through the hall. Where would Yaoguang be? Wait, Hung Jun said. How did you think of this? Li Jinglong said to Hung Jun earnestly, the Kun God can predict the future, so 9 days ago, he already foresaw that we would arrive in Luoyang. With that, he borrowed this person to deliver us a request for help. This I understand, Hung Jun said. How did you think of it though? Li Jinglong thought for a moment, before saying, from Tianbao Fu Yao Ch's poem. Hung Jun. Dimly, Li Jinglong sensed that the power of the Kun God to predict the future was actually very powerful. If, say, a huge plot was unfolding that involved the humans, the Yaos, and Mara, then the Kun God was very likely to have the power to destroy this plot. Or, it could also be said that he was the one manipulating things behind the scenes. This was also the reason that he was willing to give up on Enlushan in Chang'an, and come to Luoyang with Hung Jun. He had many things that he wanted to ask of the Kun God, which, in the beginning, only had to do with the past, including the history and origins of Mara, because after all, knowing yourself and your enemy meant that you would win in 100 battles. To defeat your enemies, you must first understand them. But perhaps, from now on, what Li Jinglong wanted to ask about also included the future. The spell of exorcism was a line from one of Li Bai's poems, and no matter when it was composed, at least when Li Jinglong had made Li Bai's acquaintance 6 or 7 years ago, he hadn't heard it then. And Qing Xiang seemed to have learned of this incantation even before then. How had Qing Xiang known a poem that Li Bai composed later? There was only one explanation, the Kun God had learned the exorcism incantation from the future, so who had come up with the spell? Li Bai couldn't have drunkenly sealed away a devil, so someone had to have successfully cast this spell. I'll explain as we go, Li Jinglong said. Let's take a trip outside. Hung Jun had Wenbin stay behind to keep watch over the exorcism department, but he hadn't expected that after Li Bai had drunk half a jug of the soul-returning wine in the early morning, he asked, where are you going, huh? Take me with you. Li Bai had fixed his beard, leaving behind faint traces of stubble. He had also neatly tied up his hair, and was wearing wide-sleeved, loose warrior's robes colored bluish-black. A glaive was belted to his waist, and he looked radiant and handsome, a jade tree in the wind. It was impossible to tell that he was a 40-something-year-old uncle. Li Jinglong brought him along, explaining what had happened. After Li Bai finished listening, he didn't seem very shocked either. Instead, he asked, if there are Yaoguai, let me kill a few as well. This was Li Bai, so of course Hung Jun said, okay, whatever you say is right, I'll protect you. Li Jinglong was torn between laughing and crying upon hearing those words. Let me get a gin of wine first, Li Bai added. The two of them could only wait for Li Bai to return with the wine. Yaoguang is outside the city, Li Jinglong said to Hung Jun. In a bit, make sure that you protect Tianbao Fu Yao well. What other spells do you know? Hung Jun studied Li Jinglong curiously. He kept feeling as if Li Jinglong had secretly taken the chance to learn some spells while he was unaware. Li Jinglong shrugged, replying, I really don't know any more. But as he thought, Li Jinglong snapped, then spread his hands. From the quiver on his back, the arrow shafts flew out with a shua, shooting forward. You've even learned the spell of the 7-nailed arrows. Hung Jun exclaimed. Li Jinglong replied, I only know how to send them out, I don't know how to call them back. Watching the arrows shoot out was beautiful, but they had no choice but to pick them up one by one. After the three of them spent a while picking up the arrows, Hung Jun asked, what else is there? There's really nothing else. But from the looks of it, Li Jinglong seemed to be a little pleased. Hung Jun guessed that he might end up showing off a little something else in front of him, so he stopped asking, and the three of them headed out of the city. When he thought about the Kun god's power, Hung Jun realized that Li Jinglong had long since had a goal, and he continued, perhaps he'll be able to tell us the future. Li Jinglong replied, what do you want to know? Hung Jun hesitated for a second. All this way, Li Bai hadn't said a single thing, but now he suddenly interjected. If it were me, I would rather not know. Hung Jun Ed. You're right. Li Jinglong thought, do you have any more brains left? He held his tongue, not daring to scold Hung Jun, so he could only say to Li Bai, but even if the people of the world know the result, they often cannot guess at how it happened. That's true, Li Bai said with a smile. But speaking of results, nothing can escape that last embrace of death. The three of them exited the city, and Li Jinglong said to Hung Jun, look at the structures of the 7 stars across Luoyang. Is this spot Yaoguang? Hung Jun looked up. As expected, from Tianchi to the Tongtian Tower, extending from there to the north outside of the city, within the divine capital Luoyang, the watchtowers of the 7 stars stood like the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. The northernmost Yaoguang matched up with Mount Longmen, and under the Dragon Gate were the Longmen Grottos. Not here, Li Jinglong climbed up to a high point, studying their surroundings. Not far away, the waters of the Luo River flowed into the distance. Li Bai replied, this atmosphere, this scene, I cannot help but feel a strong urge to write poetry come over me. Hung Jun watched Li Bai in anticipation, but Li Jinglong said, Te Bei Xiang, we're busy right now, don't compose a poem just yet. Li Bai, okay then. Hung Jun, you don't know what you've done. Hung Jun shouted at Li Jinglong. One of those poems that could have echoed through the ages has been lost now. Li Jinglong felt nothing but amusement, and he replied, but compared to the safety of Luoyang and the world, I feel like a poem's not that important. How about Gage composes one for you when I have the time? Hung Jun thought, do you know how? But he was taken aback for a moment at that, because he always thought that Li Jinglong could do anything. If that poem that he wrote in a bit was even better than what Li Bai wrote, then, no, that was impossible. Then, why don't you compose one now? Hung Jun asked. Later, Li Jinglong replied earnestly. Let's investigate this case first. Li Jinglong had finally managed to successfully pry Hung Jun's attention away from Li Bai, if only by giving himself a task that was impossible to fulfill. As of today, who would dare to compare their poems with Li Bai's? But Hung Jun was staring at him, filled with anticipation, and he shivered at that. Is that the place you're looking for? Li Bai gestured to a peony garden almost 50 paces away from where the two of them were. Before this, he had learned of the general gist of what had happened, and he continued, since there are flower yao, then perhaps the peony garden is where they're hiding. Hung Jun exclaimed, you're so smart. Li Jinglong. Not only had Li Jinglong not succeeded at composing a poem, he had almost lost the limelight of being the #1 detective of the exorcism department, and to Li Bai no less. He had no choice but to gather himself, come to a stop outside the peony garden, and peer into the distance. A strong fragrance drifted to their noses. It was currently the middle of the flower season in Luoyang, but for some reason, there were no people wandering around here. This place isn't open to the public. Head east. There are plenty of gardens that way for you all to admire the flowers, several guards holding spears said to them. Hung Jun glanced at Li Jinglong. Both of them understood that it was very likely those soldiers were Yao. Li Bai added, this place is heavily guarded, and they're acting shifty, like there's a problem. Smart. Hung Jun said admiringly. Li Jinglong was speechless. If he had known that this was how it was going to be, he would have left Li Bai in the Luoyang exorcism department to drink on his own. The three of them went a little bit away, peering at the garden from afar, only to see those soldiers discuss quietly amongst themselves, before one of them mounted a horse and went galloping south. He was probably heading off to give his report. Should we force our way in? Li Bai asked lazily, pulling out his glaive. Li Jinglong immediately moved to stop Li Bai, saying to Hung Jun, you can never figure out how I anticipate what the enemy will do and take the initiative, so now I'll teach you in detail. Hung Jun glanced at Li Bai, before then looking to Li Jinglong, and nodding. First off, how did Wanju know that we would arrive in Luoyang? Li Jinglong asked. Hung Jun thought for a moment, before he suddenly realized something. The Kun God. Li Jinglong nodded. Exactly. He clearly only knew that the exchange from last night would happen, but he didn't know when exactly you two would arrive in Luoyang, or how you would arrive. Li Bai had his hand on his glaive as he looked into the distance. Li Jinglong smiled slightly, continuing, which was why he took control over the Kun God, and subsequently gleaned a small amount of the power to look into the future. The second question then, is after last night, if you were Wanju, what would you do? Send Yao Guai to keep watch on us, Hung Jun said, frowning. Without a doubt, Li Jinglong agreed. The third question, as soon as we discover this place, what would be the most appropriate way to get rid of us? To beat us so we run away? Impossible, because that way, things would only get more serious. This question was one that Hung Jun couldn't answer. If Wanju had known that they were going to come today, how would he shift their attention? If this was indeed the place where the flower Yao were gathered, he wouldn't be able to move the entire peony garden away in the nick of time. It's very simple, Li Bai replied easily. He would lie to you, and let you think that this place has nothing odd about it at all. Or perhaps the actual place lies elsewhere, and right now, he's trying to make you think that you've found a clue, only for it to be a trap that he set. The latter possibility can be eliminated, Li Jinglong said slowly, sweeping his gaze over the flower garden. We can ensure that the source of our news is one that no one else knows about, and we've already confirmed that this place is an important location. But why are these garden guards, whether they're Yao Guai or soldiers, Hung Jun asked curiously, why do they look like they aren't prepared at all, and they didn't know that we would come? Li Jinglong replied solemnly, the only possibility is that whatever Wanju was using to keep an eye on us, something went wrong in one of the middle stages. Hung Jun came to a realization. Wanju sent Yao Guai here to keep watch on our movements. Perhaps it was at the stage where things went wrong, Li Jinglong said in reply. According to my hypothesis, there is at least one person on our side in the enemy camp. Then what should we do now? Hung Jun asked. Li Jinglong, we'll force our way into this peony garden and see what we can find. Hung Jun was torn between laughing and crying. You've spoken for this long, but isn't the conclusion still that we have to attack? Li Jinglong was confused. If we rushed in directly, you'd say that I wasn't able to explain it clearly, but now I've explained what happened with this case from beginning to end. Did I still do something wrong? Hung Jun could only let that be. Li Jinglong turned his head and said, Tianbao Xiang, I'm leaving the guards outside to you for now. We have at least one Shishan. And there's still one Gu now that hasn't shown up yet. No matter where it is, it won't be here. Charge. Without any further hesitation, Li Jinglong rushed rapidly towards the flower garden. After the three of them left, the guards had been very nervous, and now they immediately knocked arrows to their bows, on high alert. As soon as they saw Li Jinglong rushing towards them, they gave up on keeping up any pretense, and immediately shouted, "Enemy attack! The exorcists have come!" This shout immediately confirmed Li Jinglong's guess. Hung Jun whistled once, sending out the four throwing knives from his hands. Those two soldiers' arrows came shooting at them, only to be chopped into pieces in midair by the immortal slaying throwing knives. And before anyone else could react, Li Bai had already gotten close to the entrance of the peony garden. He shouted, "Can I kill them?" "We," Li Jinglong said, "can, probably." But before he could finish, Li Bai had already slashed down with his blade. With a shua, fresh blood spurted forth from that soldier's bisected body, and Li Jinglong raged, "Since you've already killed him, what's the point of asking me?" Hung Jun shouted, "Spare the Yao under your blade." Upon seeing that there were only two enemy soldiers, Hung Jun couldn't bear to fight them, but Li Bai let out a loud shout. "Alrighty." With that, he sent out a whirlwind of stabs, one of the stabs catching the other soldier's thigh. That soldier let out a loud shout and fell to the ground. Li Bai's blade skills were actually very strange. They didn't seem at all like the hacking and slashing of the Central Plains techniques, but rather, his glaive slashed like a sword, yet it was not a sword. It was also very long and narrow, and when Li Bai moved with it, it looked as if he was dancing. Hung Jun was just about to praise him loudly, but Li Jinglong said, "Hurry up and enter." And saying this, he grabbed Hung Jun's collar, the two of them leaping onto the wall around the peony garden in just a few steps. They turned at the same time, revolved through the air, and entered the inner courtyard. The scent from all around them was so strong that it caused them to feel dizzy. There was a rockery in the middle of the peony garden, and the garden itself was filled with splendidly colored peonies. The blossoms were emitting a faint black energy. With two slashes, Li Bai sent the two soldiers sprawling on the ground behind him, only for the soldiers to transform immediately, turning into two large monkeys that were bleeding profusely. Li Bai asked, "Yo, monkeys?" Just as Hung Jun and Li Jinglong landed, they found that they were surrounded by peony flowers. Li Jinglong remarked, "It has been recorded that flowers can only become human through the use of a shape-shifting spell. Their original bodies must remain rooted within the ground, and if my guess is correct, this place should be where their true bodies are." Just as they were speaking, some tens of soldiers came charging out of the little house in the midst of the flower garden. The two of them were greatly startled, and they hurriedly retreated, only to hear Li Bai give a loud shout. "Leave it to me." When he finished, Li Bai plucked the wine sack off his waist, taking several large gulps of wine. He then rushed towards them unsteadily. Those monkey Yao, after turning into soldiers, climbed onto the roofs and perched from the rafters, their movements incomparably swift. However, Li Bai's speed was even faster than theirs, and he was like a whirlwind. With a few slashes, he laid another one out flat. His drunken step also caused him to sway back and forth, and normal monkey Yao had no way to get close to him. Li Jinglong aside, Hung Jun had finally seen another mortal who could depend only on his own fighting prowess to defeat monsters. Li Bai staggered this way and that, weaving through the monkey Yao. He sliced through them skillfully, and wherever his long sword pointed, there would be wounded, but not dead, monkey Yao. "Should we burn it?" Li Jinglong asked. But just as Hung Jun was about to call up a flame, black qi began to fill the air from the entire garden of peonies. Their fragrance spread throughout the area, and countless pale, naked women rose from the clusters of flowers, taking on enchanting appearances as they let out moans. Li Jinglong. Hung Jun. End chapter. Legend of Exorcism. Chapter 106. Wine pool in the earth vein. That scene was very stunning. The peony Yao had sensed danger and had called back their transformations, which just so happened to be that group of beauties who had surrounded Wanju last night, and the hundreds of women with snow-white flesh, the fragrance of their flowers entwined with the scent of debauchery, caused Li Jinglong and Hung Jun to feel a wave of dizziness. Hung Jun had the throwing knives in his hands, yet he could not bring himself to throw them. "Are you feeling something for them?" The corners of Li Jinglong's mouth twitched. "Hung Jun, I'm not." "Then hurry up and get rid of the Yao." Upon seeing that the flower Yao were pouncing on them, Li Jinglong immediately called upon the power of the heart lamp, gathering it in his palm. There was a sudden flash, and the white light swept outwards, sending the flower Yao that were leaping towards them flying away. He turned, unsheathing the sword of wisdom on his back as he did so, sweeping it out in an arc. The flower Yao screamed shrilly, all of them fleeing before that. Hung Jun shouted, "I can't bring myself to attack them." Hung Jun had no way to stab his throwing knives into the bodies of this large group of pale bodies, because he felt that slaughtering so many of them that their blood ran in rivulets would be a great sin. Li Jinglong called back, at his wit's end, the pentacolor sacred light. With that, Hung Jun hurried to call up the pentacolor sacred light, pushing forcefully with the barrier that the sacred light produced. The flower Yao were sent flying with shrill shouts, but there were too many of them, and they kept leaping towards the two of them without end. Li Jinglong then shouted, "Use your throwing knives to cut away their roots." One of Hung Jun's throwing knives shot out, cutting down some of the peonies. Immediately, some of the flower Yao let out piercing shrieks as their midair forms turned translucent and vanished. Right after that, Hung Jun sent out his 4 throwing knives at once, cutting down peonies like he was cutting vegetables, and the flower Yao all let out pained howls as they exploded into faint shadows in the air, which dissipated and vanished. Li Jinglong, the sword of wisdom in his hand, stood in the midst of the flowers. Suddenly, he saw that one woman hadn't moved. She was simply watching them coming, while anxiously shaking her head. Li Jinglong immediately grabbed Hung Jun's hand, and Hung Jun called back his throwing knives, not understanding why as he glanced towards Li Jinglong. With a tug, Li Jinglong said to Hung Jun, "Come with me." He swept the sword of wisdom in an arc, suddenly breaking through the circle of flower Yao to rush towards that woman. That woman, however, swiftly left the peony garden, heading towards that wooden house in the middle of the garden. At this moment, however, Li Bai had already fought his way behind the house, glaive in hand, and Li Jinglong let out an abrupt shout. "Tianbao Fu Yao!" Li Bai headed towards them, blade at the ready, only to see Hung Jun and Li Jinglong chasing after a naked woman, with some tens of other naked women chasing after the two of them. He immediately panicked at that sight, asking, "What's this?" The flower Yao all began to emit their fragrance as they came rushing towards Li Bai. Li Bai immediately grew entranced, and Hung Jun said to Li Jinglong, "Damn it! Tianbao Fu Yao likes women." Li Jinglong gestured for him to continue chasing that woman who was leading the way, while he himself turned back, pulling out some lihun pollen from the pouch at his waist and scattering it. Li Bai immediately sneezed, and for a time, he woke from his drunken stupor, and subsequently the bewitchment of the flower Yao as well. Li Jinglong grabbed his arm and dragged him along, and he had no choice but to stagger away with him. "Wait! Where are you going?" Hung Jun sensed that something was amiss. That tall woman left the peony garden, only to suddenly shake open a cream-colored brocade robe embroidered with pink blossoms. She turned back to glance at Hung Jun, before pushing open the door, entering the little wooden house that the group of monkey Yao had rushed out of before. The 3 of them rushed in as well, and Li Jinglong turned and slammed the door shut, letting the bar across the door fall, making sure all of the flower Yao were stopped outside. That young woman leading the way then opened a secret door leading underground, revealing a staircase, which she quickly ran into. "Come in quickly," that woman said. "There's no more time." Li Jinglong replied, "Go with her, she's on our side." The three of them went down the hidden staircase, and Hung Jun asked, surprised, "You can speak?" "My name is Xiang Yu," that woman said quietly. "I didn't dare to speak too much outside, because the monkey Yao would have overheard." Hung Jun suddenly remembered what Wenbin had said. And that day, they had headed to the divine fragrance of the peony in the Tenli of the heavenly river precisely because they were searching for Xiang Yu. "Thank you for saving Wenbin." She lifted her skirts and walked downwards rapidly. With that, Li Jinglong understood everything, and he asked solemnly, "It was you who sent away the subordinates that Wanju had sent to keep watch on us?" Xiang Yu was very surprised by this, and she lifted her head to glance at Li Jinglong before replying. "The Marquis of Yadan shows great foresight in his battle stratagems, and it looks like that reputation is not ill-deserved." Hung Jun called up the sacred fire in his hand, which lit up the stairwell. This was a spiral staircase that led into the dark depths of the earth. The four of them kept descending the stairs, but in the darkness, those stairs seemed to stretch on endlessly. "Wanju is almost here," Xiang Yu said. "We must hurry." "Where is the Kun god being kept?" Li Jinglong asked. Xiang Yu replied, "I don't know, but perhaps, when you arrive in that place, you'll be able to find a way to get in." "Wenbin, is he still well?" Dimly, Hung Jun sensed the tremors of emotion within Xiang Yu's heart. "Do you like him?" Hung Jun asked. Xiang Yu didn't reply, instead leading the way forward swiftly. Li Jinglong asked soon after, "What method did they use to capture the Kun god? And what guards are there keeping him confined?" "I don't know," Xiang Yu said. "My sisters and I originally lived on Mount Bama, but the Gu now took us and the group of monkeys away and used devil chi to greatly increase their cultivation levels. Only I, who had long since cultivated a physical form, was lucky enough to avoid that. Promise me." Xiang Yu stopped in her tracks, raising her head to look towards Li Jinglong. "Give him some Lihan pollen," Xiang Yu said. "I saw that you all had it on you, isn't that right?" Li Jinglong gestured for her to continue leading the way. A faint red light shone from the bottom of the stairwell, which reminded Hung Jun of the symbols that had once existed in the mountain cave outside Chang'an. As expected, in this place deep underground, at the bottom of the cavern appeared a transportation array used by the Yao tribes. "Aside from that, is there anything else we can do for you?" Li Jinglong asked Xiang Yu, stopping where he was. Xiang Yu bit her lips and was silent for a long while. She then spoke. "If you can kill the Gu now, then please save my sisters. All you have to do is expel the devil chi in their bodies and plant them in a suitable location." "What about you?" Hung Jun asked. "Wanju is almost here," Xiang Yu replied. "I will hold him back for you." "Wait." Hung Jun was just about to speak, only for Li Jinglong to say, "Let's try teleporting ourselves through this array." "We don't have artifacts with resonance," Hung Jun said. "So we lack a connection between the inside and the outside. It works in one direction, so we can get in," Li Jinglong said. "Leave a throwing knife outside." Hung Jun pinned one throwing knife to the wall of the cavern. Li Jinglong then gestured for Hung Jun and Li Bai to stand in the array, while he himself bent down and pressed down on the center, activating the heart lamp, sending his mana into that array. Just like when Hung Jun had passed through the blood incantation to enter Wu Qiu's pocket dimensions, the entire array lit up, and there was a sudden flash. But this time, what was different was that the entire floor collapsed as well, and space warped, sucking the three of them in. With a shua, the light grew very bright, and their surroundings were filled with blue light. Hung Jun was brought into a strange space. The walls of this cavern were covered with thousands of veins pulsing with blue light, energy traveling through them. Li Jinglong turned his head, holding the sword of wisdom in his hand. Hung Jun said, "You must not attack rashly. This is a place where earth veins join." The earth vein was like a huge flowing river, crisscrossing the deepest part of this naturally occurring mine. and in the middle of the flow of the river, there appeared a massive pit, which had been filled with a pungent liquid smelling strongly of wine. Within that liquid floated a huge kun, a good 5 zhang long and 2 zhang wide. Kun god. Li Jinglong and Hung Jun rushed over rapidly. Excellent wine. Li Bai praised. Such a large pool of wine, how long will it take to drink it all? They're actually steeping the kun god in wine. Hung Jun shouted towards the center of that wine pool, kun god. The huge kun did not react at all. Only its back protruded out of the pool of wine. The three of them were all at a loss for what to do, before Li Bai rolled up his sleeves. I'll drink it all up. Stop that, Li Jinglong hurriedly said. He flicked his wrist, which spun the sword of wisdom in a circle, and slowly walked towards the huge kun in the midst of the pool of wine. Hung Jun sent out his throwing knives, which sank into the wine pool and embedded themselves in the huge kun's body, but the huge kun didn't sense them at all, continuing to slumber in this vast pool of wine. The lightning-throwing knife let off flashes of electricity that struck the kun god's body again and again. The kun god began to slowly spasm, yet it did not wake. Li Jinglong walked towards that pool of wine, only for a burst of black smoke to suddenly explode above his head. Goo bugs came at them from all around, and Li Jinglong shouted, "Stop them!" Hung Jun let out the pentacolor sacred light, but it was already too late. The goo bugs sank in multitudes into the wine pool, and a wild vortex grew through the entire pool, before something suddenly shot out, the silhouette of a broad, sturdy man slowly rising from the midst. I just knew you wouldn't accept the exchange. An evil smile appeared around the corners of that burly man's mouth. And he made me wait, but then again, since you've come now, don't expect that a single one of you can leave. Li Jinglong lifted the sword of wisdom, sending the power of the heart lamp into it. A bright light shone from within the sword, and he asked darkly, "Who comes?" "Chu Nai." The burly man studied Li Jinglong, with a faint trace of a smile on his face. He then looked at Hung Jun, saying slowly, "Li Jinglong, you aren't of much use. Capturing Kong Hung Jun, however, will be a great accomplishment. I've chased you all the way here to Luoyang, it truly hasn't been easy." Hey, don't forget about me," Li Bai protested. "Don't be so quick to ignore others." With one glance at him, Chu Nai knew that Li Bai was immortal, and thus posed no danger at all. He simply let out a cold chuckle, and with a wave of a finger, a beam of wine flattened Li Bai against the ground. Hung Jun shouted, "Watch out." Li Jinglong immediately gestured for Hung Jun not to worry about him, as the enemy's target was the two of them. If they went to protect Li Bai, and Chu Nai caught onto that weakness, they would be holding back on attacking in order to save an innocent bystander, and it would be hard for them to attack. "Those brothers of yours aren't here? Might as well get rid of all of you at once," Li Jinglong said darkly. Chu Nai replied menacingly, "Li Jinglong, you're relying too much on that petty intelligence of yours. If any of us brothers were to attack, it would be more than enough to completely get rid of you all, whether you believe it or not." "Attack!" Li Jinglong shouted angrily, rushing towards Chu Nai. Hung Jun followed closely behind him, and the two of them rushed towards Chu Nai, who was hovering in the air above the wine pool. Chu Nai chuckled coldly, the wine of the pool moving with his hands, rising suddenly to form a wall, which came roaring down towards them like a crashing wave. Li Jinglong shouted, "Send me up." First, Hung Jun called up the pentacolor sacred light to block that, before he turned and slid. Li Jinglong immediately leapt off from Hung Jun's back, turning in the air and throwing himself towards Chu Nai. Chu Nai swiftly retreated, but he hadn't expected that Li Jinglong had fainted in firing off an arrow. Now, his other hand let loose the string, and the arrow, shining with the light of the heart lamp, shot towards Chu Nai. With an enraged roar, Chu Nai turned into goo bugs and vanished. Hung Jun and Li Jinglong, however, had long since discussed how to defeat a goo now multiple times, and Hung Jun immediately pushed the pentacolor sacred light forth, enveloping the masses of goo bugs flying through the air. But he hadn't expected that at the very end, the goo bugs would gather up into the shape of a human again, and right after, a huge wave rose from the wine pool, crashing down over them. Li Jinglong landed on the Kun god's back. With a few swift steps that led into a leap, he landed back on the shore, while Hung Jun used the pentacolor sacred light to block. The huge wave broke against it, the wine crashing down around them and flowing away. "Wait for a chance," Li Jinglong said, watching those goo bugs. "I'll force it into the corner of the cavern, then you attack. It'll be a little easier to catch." Hung Jun ed, but suddenly, thousands of liquid arrows appeared from within the pool of wine, shooting towards the two of them. Hung Jun hurriedly used the pentacolor sacred light to block, only for the liquid arrows to turn suddenly and avoid it. They struck, soaking the two of them. That wine was stronger than any wine Hung Jun had ever drunk before, and for it to come rushing at them in such an amount meant that the entire space was filled with wine. The arrows chased after them, and the pentacolor sacred light could not defend against every one of them. Several times, Hung Jun pulled Li Jinglong into his arms, but the liquid slowly spread, rising from the pool, trapping them in the air bubble formed by the pentacolor sacred light. Upon seeing that they were about to befall the same situation as they had in the blood pool, Li Jinglong shouted, "Retreat! Let's get out first." Hung Jun pulled back his pentacolor sacred light, and Li Jinglong grabbed him, charging out of the pillar of wine. The walls and floor of the cavern were covered with that strong wine. The goo bugs flew through the air, gathering into the form of a now, and that huge, black now strode swiftly across the ground, making a beeline right for them. The scent of wine filled the air like that of a mesmerizing fog. The more Hung Jun breathed, the more he took in, and his head spun. Li Jinglong pushed him to one side, dodging the goo now, before another pillar of wine came rushing at him. Li Jinglong couldn't block in time, and he couldn't catch a breath inside it, so he was forced to drink several large gulps. Hung Jun staggered to his feet. The goo now in front of him had already gained several illusionary silhouettes of itself, and Li Jinglong's voice seemed very distant, calling out to him, "Hung Jun, Hung Jun." Hung Jun pulled out the throwing knives and rushed forward, but the goo now sidestepped his attack as easily as breathing. Hung Jun. Li Jinglong was also growing drunk. Hung Jun's alcohol tolerance was not high to begin with, and after a few strikes, he began to lose his focus. And without the pentacolor sacred light to block, Li Jinglong had no way to fight back, so he could only take the consecutive attacks from that pillar of wine straight on, looking bedraggled beyond belief. "You." The goo now laughed wildly. "Li Jinglong. You trash." The wine of the pool sent Li Jinglong back, pushing him into the corner, where he coughed incessantly, his nose and mouth filled with strong wine. The goo now walked slowly towards him, while Li Jinglong staggered to his feet, preparing for battle. But behind that goo now, another person stood up. Li Bai shook his head vigorously. "That hurt a lot." The goo now turned and looked towards Li Bai, who simply wrinkled his nose and said, "What strong wine." The goo now let out a hoo sound, its arms and legs moving in unison as it rushed towards Li Bai. Li Bai, however, suddenly pulled out his blade, avoiding the goo now's charge with a stagger. At the same time, he struck back faster than the eye could follow, landing a slash on the goo now. Li Jinglong. The goo now had never expected that this mortal would be able to react so quickly, and though it slammed its hands down several times, Li Bai dodged each of those blows easily. He kept lurching and tottering, stumbling as he went, and the goo now chased after him but was unable to touch even a single hair on his head. Instead, it was on the receiving end of several slashes from his blade. Impudent! That goo now grew enraged, and it pointed with its hands, the wine from the pool flooding over towards them, sweeping Li Bai into a corner of the cave. Li Bai drank a few gulps of wine and immediately grew excited. He slid along the ground, rushing towards the Gunao, shouting, "Good wine!" The Gunao. Just as the Gunao's hands were about to come down in the center to smash Li Bai's head in, Li Bai bent over and slipped out from between its legs. He followed that up by flicking his glaive upwards, slashing in one swift move from its crotch up through its back. Countless flying bugs exploded from the Gunao's wound, and it let out a pained howl, growing even more enraged. It chased Li Bai around, slamming its joined hands down wildly. End chapter.